$368 billion for submarines. That's the latest figure. Nuclear submarines at that, though we haven't even had the nuclear debate yet. This is a fait accompli, a done deal. We've been warmed up for it. It was 100 billion, then 150 billion mooted, and now it's just hit 368 billion. Over 30 years, it will blow out. Yes, Australia is joining the nuclear arms race late in the piece. And Albo is striking a deal to buy a bunch of used submarines at around $5 billion a pop, Virginia-class nuclear submarines, to breach the gap until 2040 or so, when we can build our own fleet, if that happens. The PR has been pulsating in the mainstream media. The SMH and Age with their red alert fear-mongering about a war with China within 3 years. Greggy Sheridan and Rupert Murdoch's The Australian newspaper proclaimed a few days ago, this brilliant nuclear submarine deal is a giant step forward for Australia. How would Greg know, as the deal had not been announced at that point? If history is any guide, it will be a monumental flop. Peter Dutton, who's just come out to say that he supports cuts to the NDIS, Australia's most disadvantaged people, to pay for the submarines, has urged the government that there is no time to waste. We have to move quickly, Peter said. This from the leader of a party which dithered for 9 years and then blew up its submarines deal with the French at a public cost of $5 billion. Our off-the-cuff view is that this is all a heinous waste of money, and Scott Morrison's AUKUS treaty only makes us more of a target for China. Getting involved in America's wars has only made Australia a target. Think the invasion of Iraq and the Bali bombings subsequently, the creation of ISIS. AUKUS amounts to surrendering Australia's sovereignty. We are about to become the Pacific landing strip for the US Air Force and their B-52 bombers. We are about to become a bigger target for China. But I'm a mere civilian here, and we defer to our star columnist Rex Patrick on these matters because Rex served in the Navy in submarines. But when he was still a senator, Rex told us on the record that Australia was simply not able to defend itself. It had no battle plan. It was not prepared for war. Such was the bungling of military procurement. Think the frigates débarque, think the F-35 Lockheed Martin strike fighter jets, which don't fly properly. The list is very long and very undercovered by the mainstream media, given the massive amounts of money involved. So Rex Patrick's view on the AUKUS deal is that in policy terms, AUKUS does erode our sovereignty. He does say that nuclear submarines are a key part of any suite of defence assets, however. They are harder to detect than ships, good at spying, which they do most of the time. Rex also predicts, such as the lag time out till 2040, when we will have our own capability, supposedly, we will never build nuclear submarines here. The big deal, therefore, about thousands of jobs created and so forth, is just a show, a big show. Are we the world's busybodies? Do we need to get involved in every conflict that America is involved with? The least Albo can do in exchange for committing Australia as a US military base and a big rich customer for their weapons manufacturers is to demand the release of political prisoner Julian Assange. He's been detained, he's been incarcerated for 13 years without charge. Bring him home. If he's done something wrong, which he hasn't, why not try him in an Australian court of law? And the other thing is, as we've been espousing now for 2 years, war powers reform. While it's a damn sight better having Albo in charge than the previous mob, in Australia it remains a decision of one man to take Australians to war. One person only, the Prime Minister. There must be a vote of Parliament. There's an inquiry on now. It looks like it's all been stitched up in favour of the status quo, but this is a serious matter. In Westminster, they have a vote of British Parliament. In the US, Congress has a vote before they decide to take their people to war. Why not here? Why is it the decision of one man?